Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
You know that old saying, a stitch in time saves nine. So you could modify that for today to adapt it to today and say a bunch of vaccines ordered in time can save a lot of lives. That hasn't happened in India. And the result of that now we see all over your TV screens, newspapers, on the print, in pictures. You have this unlikely sight. This country had worried for a long time that there'll be vaccine hesitancy. But we were watching that globally, when research was coming out, that was Pew and others, etc., Indians actually were showing the least vaccine hesitancy. More than 90% of Indians were saying that they will be willing to take the vaccines, unlike many other countries, including in America, where the number was much lower. So initially, there were still concerns in India that there might be vaccine hesitancy. And we saw some of it when this was rolled out for frontline personnel and for healthcare workers. There was hesitancy to begin with. It also so happens that at that point, the pandemic seemed to have declined quite a bit, and maybe people thought it's not worth it, the pandemic is over. That's a possibility. But unfortunately, that's what the government also seems to have concluded, that the pandemic is over and they could take their time with the vaccination process. Now, when the pandemic is back, people have realized that vaccines save lives, that vaccines are important. So you have this incredible spectacle and sad spectacle of people lining up at vaccination booths, vaccination centers, and vaccines not being available, and people spending hours and hours and hours there, even after booking for vaccines. Now, this is not something that the doctor ordered, particularly in this situation. What is happening right now is India's vaccination numbers have come down. You will see the graphic on the screen. We just keep updating it routinely. You've seen this in the past. So it is now sort of middling around 2.5 million a day. But that also, if you dice further, you will find that more than half of it, almost 60 to 70% of it, are now second doses. That means the unique vaccinations, the new people to get protected at least with some antibodies or some T cells, B cells, which will protect them from serious versions of the disease or serious manifestations of the disease, is not rising as fast as it should have by now. And it is at the same time that government has now opened up vaccination to everybody above the age of 18. That is nearly 100 crore people in India. It's a lot of people. And the second thing, as you well know, the government said that all those who are above 45, we are responsible for them. Central government said we will find vaccines for them and give to the states. Beyond that, states have to arrange their own, or the private sector can arrange and sell it at what price they want. Now, this has caused a big confusion. That confusion has essentially arisen because this is an incredible thing that Government of India has done. Government of India has created demand without thinking about supplies. So usually for many decades now, we are used to a situation where there is supply, but you are trying to create demand. You want to sell cars, you want to sell some medicines, you want to sell anything. India is no longer used to shortages, and I will hold forth on the idea of shortages for a couple of minutes a little bit later. But India is no longer used to shortages. In this case, what Government of India has done with completely misplaced priorities and policies, and I'm using opinion here, is that they have taken us back to the era of shortages. Now you have demand, you have massive demand. Every day you find people, young people, old people searching for vaccines, and vaccines are not available. In the process now, the center says that you can delay your second shot of Covishield even more. It doesn't matter. So you can now, there is even talk of saying that you can take it in 6 months. Maybe it's all right, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but it is basically basically driven by the fact that there is a shortage of vaccines. So this is a vaccine, I will not call it man-made shortage, I will call it a state-made shortage, because the Indian system, quote unquote system. Usually when you say system these days some people get very triggered, but it is the Indian system. Indian system for decades is used to dealing with shortages, and when you get used to dealing with a chronic disease, you sometimes become a kind of besotted with it, a kind of Stockholm syndrome. So Indian system has learned to deal with shortages, and it has learned to thrive in shortages, because maybe shortages give you a sense of challenge and you say, despite such shortages, I can manage, and also when there are shortages, citizens will come to me and I'll be able to do something for them. So when there are no shortages, they sometimes conjure up shortages, which is what's happened with vaccines. Remember, when we were growing up, there were shortages of everything, not just shortage of wheat and sugar. There was shortage of electricity, there was shortage of water, not just all of them, shortage of sugar, but shortage of scooters. You had to wait 15 years to get a Bajaj scooter, to get a decent scooter. You had to wait many years to get a premier car. So even luxury items were in short supply. So water, electricity, atta, that is wheat flour, rice, sugar, they were in short supply. Similarly, items of luxury were in short supply. Everything was in short supply. Highways were in short supply. And our system had fallen in love. They were terminally in love with shortages. So you had the Planning Commission which planned for shortages, which means in 10 years, India will be short of this. So let's plan for that shortage. How will we make up for it? Now, when you have shortages, you have to plan, but at the same time, there was a fear of surpluses. That is the way our system has worked. Some of this was changed by the economic reform of 91. So many things that were always chronically, perennially in shortage, LPG for example, cooking gas, those problems had ended, and we thought we had left shortages behind. And lo and behold, the Indian quote unquote system, and that system, it doesn't matter who comes to power. The Prime Minister of the day or the leadership of the day has to be very aware and has to be very vigilant, so this system doesn't hijack policy and create shortages. But because what do shortages do? Shortages give enormous power to the system, to the bureaucracy, to the police, to the inspectors. Because there are shortages, there is black market. Because there is black market, the high prices, premium in black market, there is hoarding. Because there is hoarding, you can raid. Because you can raid, you can collect bribes. So this just becomes, everybody acquires a vested interest in shortages. Today, we have created with that same mindset a shortage of vaccines. Today, the COVID task force and the health ministry held a press conference, usual briefing, where they gave data about what vaccines are available, because they know Government of India's response to COVID in the second wave has been like chasing the fire. They are behind the fire and they are chasing it. They've never tried to get ahead of the fire. Even now, there is no effort to get ahead of the fire. They've still been fighting the fire of oxygen shortage, that now this new tension over that one drug that works for mucormycosis or black fungus has now come in. So now they'll be chasing that and something else will come in. And meanwhile, the search for remdesivir will always carry on. So there is no effort to get ahead of the fire. One way of get ahead of the fire, to get enough vaccines in place in time. There is already some evidence that populations which have been vaccinated are showing lesser fatalities and lesser incidence of the disease. See this story in the Hindu. I will share it with you. It gives you some indication. So if by this time India had another 10 crore vaccinated, and India was vaccinating another 50 lakhs a day, 60 lakhs a day, 70 lakhs a day, instead of 23 lakhs a day, then you would have had a chance of getting ahead of the fire and then aiming the fire hose at where the fire is spreading, not chasing the fire from behind, because then with this kind of bad wind blowing, the fire will always beat you, and you will finally catch up with it, but only by the time your house or your farm or the forest is fully burnt or fully singed. That's where Government of India is. So in this presentation today. They basically said that we have a lot of vaccines coming in. So don't worry right now. Right now, there may be a shortage of vaccines, although nobody wants to admit that there's a shortage of vaccines. Don't worry now, right now, there will be vaccines. Now, why has this happened? This has happened because, one, as I said, that this marvelous Government of India genius system created this massive demand and hunger for vaccines without ensuring any supply. So state after state is now suspending the 18 to 44 vaccination, saying we haven't got any. So what's the point of you coming up and you registering? There's no point wasting time. When we have it, we'll let you know. So right now we have this situation. In fact, I will share with you this story that Neelam Pandey and Praveen Jain did from Bengaluru today. That tells you how Bengaluru, which is supposedly the medical center of all of India, some of India's best institutions and hospitals are there in the private sector and in the state sector, and yet young people are now driving out almost 100 kilometers to find a place which might have a few vaccines available in the 18 to 44 age group. And see these pictures. These are young people who have driven out. Maybe it's a nice picnic also, us bahane se, but they've gone out for vaccines. So this shortage has been created. So one, demand has been created without thinking about supplies. These things used to happen in the Soviet system. You create supplies without having demand, and you create demand without having supplies. So in the Soviet system, what happened was that suddenly state-run factories decided to produce a lot of soap, washing soap, because the previous year there was a shortage of soap. Suddenly the market was awash with soap. Then there was too much soap. So next 3 years they produced no soap. So there was a shortage of soap. So what that would do is that when soap would come into market, people would go and buy up piles and piles of soap, knowing कि पता नहीं फिर कब आएगा. And they would store that soap, that supply of washing soap. And washing soap is not a nice thing at the best of times, even now. But then washing soap had a lot more of this abrasive or noxious chemicals in it, including caustic soda and stuff. My chemistry may be a bit wrong there, but chemicals that you don't want in your living room. But Russian apartments, Soviet apartments, as you know, were very tiny, and a lot of people stored so much of the soap in those apartments, they began to get skin problems with the fumes and with the emission of the chemicals. So that was the system that always chased what happened in the past. So it was demand last year, you create surplus this year. Because there was surplus last year, you don't produce anything. That's precisely what Government of India has done with the vaccines. This is terrible, and books will be written about it in the future. Next, they never thought about something called the digital divide, because there's such is the obsession with this app, CoWIN app and technology. Now everybody doesn't know technology. To presume that every Indian can use an app and book and register, and now this app has a capture function. Next, I don't know what other function will it have. Maybe they'll ask you some question like, tell me the distance between Earth and Neptune or something, right? This is not, these apps, you don't have to pass an IQ test to get a vaccination done. This is not an IAS entrance examination or an IIT examination or any other UPSC examination for GK, fastest fingers first. This is a disaster to think that every Indian now is digitally savvy. You can say that in your publicity, Digital India and all that, but that is not the reality of India. So this is what Pratap Bhanu Mehta in his article in the Express called Darwinism. So you brought in this vaccine Darwinism, survival of the fittest for the vaccine, or survival of the fastest finger for the vaccine. That's the second big error. And third was, once you knew that you were short of vaccines, then what to do? Encourage state governments to float global tender. So UP floated the first global tender for 4 crore vaccines. And then copycat, at this point, 12 states have floated their global tenders for vaccines. And more are being told to do so. In fact, Delhi is being attacked for not having floated a global tender, and I saw a video from Manish Sisodia, Delhi's senior minister, saying that this is nonsensical, that you have India's states competing in global markets. This is nonsensical, because if states were to arrange their own, you could have built the states and you could have made one bid, because it is one nation, it is one set of taxpayers. To throw India's states in the global markets in a manner where they are competing with each other really is I mean, if the states had threatened to do it on their own without the center pushing it, I am sure a lot of the nationalists would have got all het up and said these states are creating India's balkanization. But this is the center pushing for India's balkanization. It's one thing to say states should buy their own vaccines, although I don't understand why should states pay a different price from the center. One price should have been negotiated with Indian manufacturers also. But having said that, to say that you can also buy overseas on your own, that means UP will compete with Bihar, will compete with Maharashtra, will compete with Punjab, will compete with Haryana, will compete with so and so. It is like different nations, and we know, everybody knows that globally vaccines are not available right now. So don't say I'll get this vaccine, that vaccines. Vaccines are not available, and one reason vaccines are not available in the world is that most of the world actually is counting on India to deliver those vaccine doses. It is India which has let the world down. Unfortunately, it's letting itself down also. Now, what is the origin of the problem? Which is where I lift some clutter. The origin of the problem is that smart countries, now you might think Donald Trump was a fool and he did many things which were foolish. But one thing, and he was a technology denier, a science denier, an evolution denier, a Darwinism denier, a climate change denier. He was all kinds of things which are not right. But he got one thing right. He understood that vaccines might be his ticket to re-election. So he put money into the vaccines, and he started this thing called Operation Warp Speed. Warp Speed means to move at a speed, at the fastest speed possible. By the way, to those who might be interested, the expression warp speed actually comes from the teleserial, the science fiction teleserial Star Wars, where it was generally used to be like warp speed means traveling faster than the speed of light, which, as you know, is very fast. That's why when there is thunder, you see the lightning first and you hear it much later, because light travels much faster than sound. So he called it Operation Warp Speed. He gave money to his vaccine manufacturers in advance, placed in orders in August last year. India did no such thing. Again, Britain did it. And see Boris Johnson, his first wave handling was a complete disaster, and nobody thought that he will be able to redeem himself. But by ordering vaccines in time and by administering them early enough, he has redeemed himself. Now he's seen as a big success story. Similarly, Trump, he lost his election. He did not live to enjoy his success. But today, if Biden is getting success with the vaccination drive, that's because Trump had ordered so much in advance. And I'll give you an example of another smart country which did not do so. That is Japan. Japan did not order vaccines in advance. And look at the plight Japan is in, despite its riches and despite its technology and despite its discipline. India in this process was so busy celebrating the success of Indian vaccines. We declared victory not just against the virus, but also we became so smug that we can produce any amount of vaccines, but there are limitations. And manufacturers can also produce only when they are given orders in time. So for a long time, our manufacturers, Serum Institute until then, was only producing for exports, plus on its own stockpiling some for domestic use. That stockpile has been used. That stockpile, today Government of India data showed us, and I've got it all from Avantika Ghosh, who's our health editor and who was present at the briefing. 6.6 crores vaccines were bought by Government of India in phase 1. Those have been administered. These were obviously the vaccine doses that Serum Institute had stockpiled at its own risk. Nobody had underwritten it, unlike, say, the American system or the British system, where governments had underwritten a lot of production and pre-ordered it. They had taken that insurance. In India, we were not taking that insurance and we were scattering it all over the world, thinking के पहले सबको दे देते हैं, हमारे पास time है. Anybody who waits like this, who sits back, this virus comes straight for his neck, and that is what happened in this case. Now, once India realized that the numbers were going up, by Feb people thought a little bit, March, so India rolled out very slowly, first only health workers, frontline workers, then 60 plus 40 plus 45 plus with comorbidities, then everybody above 45. By that time they realized there were not enough vaccines available, and that is when the problem started, and that is when India's COVID numbers began rising and deaths began rising at alarming levels, and global media, public opinion within India were turning so nasty against the government that I would like to believe in panic and under pressure the government said everybody over 18, which means you created massive demand but you didn't have the vaccine. So this is like inviting your entire neighborhood for dinner when you had no atta, no ghee, no sugar, no rice, no onions, no lemon, no nothing in your home, and when McDonald's is shut, or when Sarvana Bhavan is shut, or when wherever you can order food from is also shut or is sold out. So that is exactly what has happened. Having got here now, where does India go? So today's data that Government of India gave, that tells us that 6.6 crore shots were bought by Government of India in the first phase. These shots were paid for from PM CARES funds. So we also have clarity now that a bunch of funds under PM CARES, collected under PM CARES, were used to buy this first 6.6 crore shots. Remember, 2 shots per person. So this is 3.3 crore people fully vaccinated. Then is in phase 2, Government of India has ordered 12 crore vaccines, of which 86% have been received. Most of these have been administered. Again, 12 crore means 6 crore people with 2 shots to a person. In phase 3, they've ordered another 16 crore. That will be between May and July, June, July. So you can see about 5 crores plus per month. That is Government of India's order for 45 plus age group. In India, that will be another 16 crores. So total by July end, Government of India would have bought 35.6 crore vaccine shots, which means if you have to fully vaccinate people, it will be just about 18 crore fully vaccinated people. So Government of India's earlier plan that they will have 30 crore people vaccinated by August is not going to happen. They are nowhere near that. So even according to their own plan, they had not ordered enough. So I know governments don't bother hiding, because governments know that what can people do? They can scream and shout, and if the media shouts, then we can throw abuse at them. You can use social media abuse. Somebody can be accused of being in the pay of so and so foreign agent, don't like Indian vaccines. To which the answer always is, you say I agree Indian vaccines are marvelous, but where are the vaccines? Or as the old line in American politics goes, where is the beef? It has nothing to do with, I'm not recommending you eat one meat or the other, or you eat any meat at all. But that is the old logic. Where is the beef? इसमें तत्व का क्या है इस बात के अंदर? Where is the vaccine? There is no vaccine. Now 5.6 crores Government of India will buy till July. Whatever is left over, states will buy. Once again, that's been complicated. What the states can buy is also limited, because all the domestic production in India, central government will buy 50%. Remaining 50%, half can be sold to the states and the other half will be sold to the private sector. That is to ensure higher profits for domestic manufacturers so they can charge more to the private sector. In this case, the interesting thing is that Serum Institute has put up its price for the private sector and the states, whereas Covaxin or Bharat Biotech, which is the Indian vaccine, has put a price even higher than Serum Institute's, although that is based on ICMR's research, Indian research. Nevertheless, this is a way of ensuring profits to these companies, but too little is left for the states to buy from. And even their central government has now fixing the quotas according to the population to how much can these companies sell to each state. So this is to say now that we've left it free for the states is a travesty. And it is frankly an insult to anybody's intelligence, because this is a completely central government controlled and central government ruined market. Now we are given hope going ahead that maybe you will have this trouble till August, but after August things will pick up, because by that time our manufacturers will be starting producing more. So the data the government task force gave today, they said that after August, between August and December, Serum Institute will produce 75 crore more vaccines. Bharat Biotech will produce 55 crore more vaccines. Biological Evans, as it used to be called, but now BioE, they will produce with Johnson & Johnson 30 crore of J&J Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Then Zydus Cadila, whose vaccine is yet to be approved, but likely to be approved, it's a DNA vaccine. They would have produced 5 crores. And then Genova, which is an Indian firm again, we'll tell you the story about this in a day or two. It will be the first Indian messenger RNA vaccine. It is a company which is owned by a very well-known Indian generics firm, that is Emcure in Pune, owned by an Indian entrepreneur called Satish Mehta. So if that is approved, again we are presuming that and hoping that this will be approved, they would have produced 6 crore vaccines. So that will be the first Indian messenger RNA vaccine. Then Bharat Biotech by then is also expected to produce 10 crore copies of the nasal version of its vaccine, and Sputnik would have produced 15.6 crores. That Dr. Reddy's lab is producing, maybe some other Indian company also. So the COVID task force says that by first quarter next year we will have 3 billion vaccines. So देखो ना, अगले जन्म में तो next quarter first year, how many Indians would have suffered meanwhile for lack of vaccines? That is almost 1 year from now. So it's like saying कि इस जन्म में तो मैं तुम्हारे लिए कुछ कर नहीं सकता, पर अगले जन्म के लिए मैंने आपका बहुत अच्छा इंतजाम किया हुआ है. That this birth of yours, this life of yours, I can't do very much, but in your next life, I will give you a fantastic 5-star home to live in, no shortage of anything, and plenty of vaccines that you need. So if you look at all this, you find a complete destruction of the principles of economics, principles of governance, principles of public health, principles of medicine, all logic and frankly human intelligence as well.